What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Ball to Bowl series. As you know by now, the Ball to Bowl series is an opportunity for us at Come Home and have authentic conversation with real men about hair loss. Today, I have a special guest with me, Tom Turner. Tom found the brand while just searching on Facebook, and we're super happy to have him join us today on the series. Tom, what's up, man? Introduce yourself to the people, bro.
Hey, bro. Pleasure to be here. Name's Tom Turner. 51 years old, born and raised in Rochester, New York. Well, Victor, New York, a suburb of Rochester. Educated at Victor school system. Born with disability, spina bifida, or open spine. And what that is it's a neural tube disorder where the spinal column fails to form properly and results in varying degrees of disability. I'm what they call a thoracic 10, which means thoracic 10th vertebrae, and I'm paralyzed in the waist down, but hasn't stopped me from living a full life. I work for my father's business until death in 2013. I have a full social life. I have a girlfriend, and it hasn't stopped me. And as you could say, I'm bald and bold, just like the rest of y'all. So it's just this has been a happy accident for me.
We love it. We love it. We love it, man. Tom, thank you for giving the people a quick introduction, man. We love to learn as much as possible about the guys that join us on the video series. So that was amazing. Tom, something that's always special about Come Home is the idea and the concept of home. Home means so many things to so many different people, and many people can relate to the term home. When you think about the term home, what memories does that bring up for you, Tom?
Well, home is just it's being in a safe place and just having everything that you love at your disposal. Your family, your bedroom, your clothes, your entertainment system, all your favorite CDs or downloads or whatever, your favorite movies. It's a place of safety.
Yeah, yeah. So Tom, I told you earlier that when I was losing my hair, the joke from my friends would be like, "Hey, Kenny, man, just give it up. You got to come home." And hearing you talk about home, to me, it's a direct parallel to that phrase, right? Because a lot of the times when guys are dealing with hair loss, they're trying to hide it. They're not comfortable in that space when they're dealing with hair loss, got the bald spot. But we're saying, hey, come home to the safe space where you just embrace your baldness.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's my father and my uncle. I'm a victim of circumstance. In my case, my father and my uncle went bald in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, I started looking in the shower when I was 19, 20 years old, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Oh, so gradually, it just started going away, and I just decided that, okay, I can't change it. I tried Rogaine, I tried 5 or 6 different other products, and they just didn't work. They made my hair thicker, but they didn't grow it back.
Mm.
So I ended up looking like Rod Stewart with a bald spot. This giant bald. I mean, I had this huge mane of thick hair, and it was long, but then up here, it was nothing.
Yep.
So I just I came home. I figured the heck with it. Doesn't define me as a man, doesn't define me as a person, whatever. So I'm coming home. I'm letting it go. And I'm also, and this is another component to this, I've also made the decision to let my hair go gray.
Mm,
I'm gonna go. I'm going the silver fox route, and I'm going gray. So
that's a look now, man.
yeah. Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. Um, so we've already started that process, and I'm 51 years old right now, soon to be 52, and we're just gonna sit back and see what happens. So
So, Tom, let me take it back a little bit. So you say your father and your uncle, or your father and your brother were
my
bald,
father, and my
or
uncle, my
father and
father, and
your
my
uncle.
uncle. Yeah.
So you grew up seeing your father and your uncle with the bald head. Even obviously before you even noticed that you were ever balding. Did you ever look at them and say like, like they have bald heads. I don't think I want that. Or did you just think, oh, they look fine with a bald head? Did it ever anything you ever thought growing up?
I never really wanted to have a bald head, but the older my father got, and my older my uncle got, they look they just got a very distinct look about them, and they look pretty distinguished with it. My one time, I'll give you a funny story. My father got it in his head that he wanted a toupee. So I was like 10 years old, and my father all of a sudden, and he paid like $1,000 for this thing too. And he come home with this toupee, and my sister and I absolutely flipped. We started to cry. We're like, we want our daddy back. We want our daddy back. And my father's like, oh, I can't believe I did this. So he took it back. Luckily, he got his money back. Um, but it just he just made the decision that, okay, this isn't going to work. You know, the toupee thing's not the right look for me. So he gave that up, and he just got a very distinct look about him, a very very distinguished look about him too. And I'm like, okay, okay, this is
Yeah,
my future. And so I just decided I want that too.
yeah,
So I maintain the hair that I've got, but if it decides to leave me, fair enough. I'm I'm secure enough in my masculinity, my manhood, to take it as it comes, and be okay with it. So
wow. So that's a great story because so I am for age range, I'm 31, gonna be 32 next month. Wow. Um, but a lot of guys that I talk to who are around my same age, they're always thinking about like, hey, they talk about Rogaine. They talk about like hair fibers that you can use, like almost like a dye to try to show that you're not balding. Now there's like so on, well not so, almost glue on like weaves
right.
use. Um, but nobody has brought up the toupee in a while. It's been a while since I heard that. So take
Oh
it
yeah,
back a bit to back in the day when the toupee was very much an
yeah, yeah,
option
yeah.
for a lot of men. It's really good to hear that story, man. Wow, 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 wow.
Not a great option, but some of them are nice. Some of them weren't, but in my dad's case, it it was it was just cheesy. I mean, it was just I'm like, what are you doing? But
That's funny,
anyway,
man. So, but I heard you say multiple times, Tom, that when your father gave up the toupee and was like, hey, I'm just going to wear the bald head, you mentioned distinguished several times. You said he had this very distinguished look about him. You know what? There's actually research that says that bald men are perceived to be more confident, to be more successful, to be more
sure.
powerful, and more dominant than their peers. So men with bald head, for whatever reasons, have this certain aura, and it is the aura of distinction and distinguished, like you mentioned earlier. So I think what we find is that guys who are dealing with hair loss and very embarrassed about it and covering it up, and are scared to go bald, it's kind of con- contrasting to the data that says, dude, like when you do come home, people are going to think you're a boss anyway.
Right. So don't worry about it. Ain't no thing. Don't worry about it.
Exactly, man. So that's one of the funniest parts that I have started to realize. And also another thing, man, as I talk to more and more men about this, what I'm starting to realize, it's so much more of an internal battle than it is an external battle. Like what you'll find out is when I talk to women or even men, they're like, "Man, like there's nothing's wrong with the bald head. It's really the guy who's going through that hair loss process that's beating himself up internally. The people on the outside aren't even thinking much about it. They're like, yeah, shave your head, you'll look fine. But it's internally the guy is like, oh, I can't shave. Like I got to hold on to what I have.
Right, right. And it's just it's gonna go away anyway. You just, you know, take the rest of the journey. Just take the rest of the journey.
Tom, tell me about, you mentioned it a little bit, but I want to get into more detail, man, about the first day that you realized something was happening, like that you, because I imagine it didn't just start falling out. I imagine there must have been like a small bald spot. Tell me about that first day, bro, that you were like, wait, what is going on?
First day I was I think I went swimming,
Mm-hmm.
and it was either, yeah, no, I went swimming, and I um got out of the lake, and I took a shower, and I'm blowing my hair dry, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing white skin,
Hmm.
and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So I told my mother and father about it, and then they're like, my you could just see my father over in the corner smiling at me, and he's like, "Yep, you're on your way, kid." So I immediately got all paranoid about it. So I went to my doctor. I went to a dermatologist actually, and I said, "Well, what can we do about this? I don't want to lose my hair. I'm 20 years old." So we tried the Rogaine, we tried whatever, a couple of different products, and like I say, I, I didn't I didn't gain any more hair, but I got thicker hair.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that was through using the Rogaine or in just some like,
it was either it might have been Rogaine. It's been so long I forgot, but
mhm.
it was either Rogaine or another product. And it's like I say, the results of it were was not more hair, but just thicker hair. And I think the idea, what they were trying to achieve, was they were trying to give you thicker hair, so it would look like you had more hair. But in the end, it made it longer, and it made the bald spot more pronounced.
Ah, interesting.
So
Interesting.
it kind of defeated its own purpose, so to speak.
Tom, do you remember at all how often you had to use those products?
I was probably using them. I mean, I used them as directed.
Okay, so
Um,
that's, if I
yeah.
recall, it's like an everyday thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's the thing about Rogaine and all the other drugs. It's not like a solution where you could just use it for 6 months or a year and your results last. It's the idea is if they do work, you have to continue to use that for every day of the rest of your life because once you stop, that hair loss will speed right back up. And
Right. Yeah.
mm,
It became a full-time job. It's part of your existence, part of your daily routine.
yep.
And I mean, it was for the concept was good, and um, but it's like I say, it counter it had an adverse reaction, and so
Tom, what about, I always like to ask men, like when you were going through that hair loss process, um, did it ever get to a point that it was bad enough where people would notice and say anything? Like, did you have friends that would make jokes? Or obviously your father kind of already knew, but were there anybody, is there anybody else, like schoolmates, anything like that, that were saying things about it, about the hair loss?
No, not really. I mean, they noticed, but it was just like quick little, oh, you're getting up there in age, huh? Oh, okay. Um, you're headed straight for middle aged, or welcome to middle aged. They don't fight for the jugular, and they're like, oh, okay, how's it going, Chrome Dome? Or uh, you know, you want to wear a hat, you're blinding me. Or um, they go right for the gut. I'm from an Italian family, and you know, they 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 go right for the jugular. They don't play. You know, they they they'll call you out on anything. So um they
Chrome Dome is one of the favorite ones I've heard so far.
yeah yeah they don't play. They go right for the jugular. So I had to deal with that. Um amongst my friends, just it when you're with the fellas, you give some to them, they'll give you right back. It's like snaps.
Yep.
You say something to them, and then it's like, okay, how um you mind putting on these, or you mind if I get a pair of sunglasses? The glare is blinding me, or something like that. So
Very funny, man. Very funny. So you were able to you would get the jokes, but you sounds like you had enough jokes to fire back in any situation. So you were able to move through the pressure there. Um, I want to
yeah.
know about the day that you were like, you know what? I'm going to stop using Rogaine. I'm going to stop using these products, and I'm just going to embrace it. I'm ready to come home. Tell me about that day, and tell me about what helped influence that decision.
Well, I think it was just basically just a decision that this isn't working.
Hmm.
And why am I wasting all my money and my time to try and prevent something that it's going the wrong way here? And enough's enough. So I just um, stopped. Just said no. I'm not. Why am I paying these people all this money that for something that just isn't working? So um, I just made the conscious decision just to stop. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I just threw it all in the garbage. I, in my bathroom. So
And are you shaving now? And what are you using to keep this part
um,
very clean? And
right now, I'm just using the clippers.
okay,
The wall clippers. With I use number 2 and number 3 attachment,
okay.
and I do that, and I haven't shaved today. I apologize, but um, my Remington razor, and that's got an attachment on it, and um, whoever happens to be around, whether a family member or my girlfriend or whomever, I have them just pop the attachments on and just go to town, and just clean it up.
Yep.
So
And
because grooming was always big in our house anyway, so um, I like to keep it clean anyway. So
love that. Love that.
yeah,
How often would you say that you're shaving? What's your routine?
probably once every. You mean my head?
Yep.
Yeah. Probably once every 4 weeks.
Nice, nice,
And
nice.
I also have one of my best friends is my stylist, and he comes in um, and gives me a haircut, and uses the clippers. And I think one of these days I'm just going to have him take it off.
You need
And
that. Tom,
Yeah,
I need you all the way home, bro. I need you all the
yeah,
way home.
yeah. One of these days we're gonna go all the way home, and we're gonna get rid of it, and just to see how it looks.
Yep.
I want to, I want to do it. I want to do a test and to see how it looks, and if I like it, we're going all the way home.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have a home going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So stay tuned.
You got my word. When you make that happen, you got to send us your address, and we'll send you something special from us to you
Oh,
for your homecoming gift, man.
oh,
That's
that'd
my
be
word.
wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely,
That'd be
man.
wonderful.
So I want to talk more now about because Tom, personally, the way I feel about it, and I tell bald men that I talk to about this all the time. I think historically, there's definitely been a thing that's like, you know, bald isn't attractive. You have to have hair. Hair makes you beautiful. But I think we're in an era now where people are really, really starting to embrace the bald look, especially bald with the beard. It's really a thing now. And I know so many women that say, "Oh my God, I love bald man." I know men that are attracted to bald men. I like it's really a thing right now. And I
Yeah,
think I'm very excited for bald men to officially have the time to like stand up and embrace our look. So I think it's our time personally. That's how I feel about it. And I like to make sure that every guy I talk to, I talk that talk so they know that it is time to come home. We are building a movement right now. And
yeah,
yeah, man.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
when I think about it, I also try to take some time to think through who are those bald men who laid the foundation for us to come home confidently, right? So when I think about some of those men, I think about obviously Michael Jordan comes to mind, right? He was probably one of the most, probably maybe one of the most famous ball men of all time, clearly.
Sure.
And so he comes to mind for me. I also think about Tupac Shakur. I'm a big hip hop fan, and Tupac was one of those guys that rocked the bald head very, very confidently. Today, you can see John Travolta killing it.
Yep.
John Travolta at the ball head kills it. Bruce Willis, Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. I think Elon might have just eclipsed him a little bit, but Jeff Bezos of Amazon, bald man killing it. So there's just so many of us. Jason Statham,
Yep.
bald
Fisher
man that I really,
Price.
yeah.
Yep.
So wait, let me ask you, who would you say? No, let me say top four. If we had to create a Mount Rushmore of the bald men who've laid the way for us, who would you say are the top four, man?
Oh, I would say probably Jason Statham,
Yes, sir.
Vin Diesel,
Yeah.
uh, Wesley,
Oof.
and now here's the guy that I don't know if you know him or not, and I don't know if he's still bald or not, but there's a guy by the name of Mark Zupan,
Mark Zupan. Okay.
and Mark Zupan is well, he's retired now, but he's a member of the United States wheelchair rugby team, quadriplegic rugby team. And he was in a documentary. It's a great documentary. I would recommend it for all the fellas if you got some time.
Yep.
It's called Murder Ball,
Okay.
and it's about the creation of the United States wheelchair rugby team, and just a very inspiring story, and just a great story about these guys that have gotten injured through no fault of their own, but have collectively pulled themselves up by their bootstrings and persevered and went out and won the gold. And
Wow.
I had the opportunity to meet Mark about 7 or 8 years ago, and just a super cool guy, very unassuming, very humble guy. I mean, I went to he was at a dinner, and I went into this dinner thinking that he would have all kinds of layers of security around him, and oh well, wait a minute, you got to wait for an autograph and blah blah blah. And I got there, and he was out in the hallway, just kicking it out in the hallway, just talking to the people. And I went up to him, and it was like meeting the Pope.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mark, it's so nice to meet you. And um, you know, God, Murderball is my favorite movie of all time. And he's like, nice to meet you too, man. Here, I had my DVD with me, and it's like, here, can you sign this for me? Oh yeah, I'd love to sign it. And later, he said, well, you watched the movie a lot. And I said, yeah, I've watched it over 100 times. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, I've watched it over 100 times. And I asked him, I said, there's this one scene where you're at the gentleman's club, and you're having a little fun with the ladies. And I said, we got one in town here if you're interested. After we're done here, maybe if you'd like to go out and maybe see what our nightlife is like. He's like, well, I got to catch a plane in the morning, but we just might do that. But unfortunately, his schedule didn't allow it, because he had to catch a plane in the morning. But he was going to do it. He was serious. You see this guy that's been injured in this horrible accident, and is lucky, talking about going to a nudie bar. It was hilarious.
I love it. I love it, man. Very down to earth. I got to add Mark Zupan to the list, because we definitely want to reach out to some influencers and celebrities to help us as we continue to build this. So I'm going to add him to that list.
Yeah.
I'd love to get him on one day, man. So that's a good addition to my list. I appreciate that, Tom.
Yeah.
So Tom, my next question here for you, man. As you know, the brand we're building here is all about really trying to help men kind of embrace their natural evolution, especially when it comes to hair loss. So I want to ask you this, bro. If you knew that there is somebody watching this episode right now who is still struggling with hair loss, hasn't committed to coming home yet, hasn't committed to embracing, and are still dealing with hair loss, what's the best advice you would give them, man?
I simply would just say, embrace it. It's not, you're not gonna change anything really. You're only gonna make more work for yourself trying to stop it, and you're wasting your money. That's the big, money's tight right now. You're wasting your money on stuff that may or may not work. And at the end of the day, you're bald. You're gonna probably end up bald and broke. So just stop. Just stop it. Think. Just, going back to the Nancy Reagan, just say no. Just be yourself, and embrace it. It's there's no harm in it.
Man, major keys coming from you right now, Tom. Because the thing is, man, we end up finding out that, like, a lot of guys are, not wanting to shave their head, and sometimes it's a deeper issue, right? Essentially, it boils down to a confidence issue, right? And an insecurity where they feel like their hair gives them so much power, and without it, they're not the same person, or
right.
won't be perceived as the same, etc. And I think you got to get to a point where you realize that your hair doesn't define you, right? That there's so much more that you have to offer to the world than a nice hairline or a flowing mane of hair. You know what I mean? And I think once we can get guys to realize that, then they're able to actually say, you know what? They're right. I can shave my head, and I can still have an impact on people, and I can still attract women. I can still attract men, depending on whichever makes sense for their current situation. But there's definitely an underlying insecurity there that we want to help men break through. Right? Let's get over that, and let's really step out into this world as our true selves. So I'm glad you're giving them that game there, man. Just embrace it. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money, because again, that Rogaine or those other drugs, you got to use day in and day out for the rest of your lives. All right. So, like, listen to my man Tom here when he says, do not waste your time, do not waste your money, just go ahead and come home.
Absolutely. The church said amen.
Last question here, Tom. We talked about this a bit earlier too, but come home, the way we spell it in French with two M's in both of the words, COMME, HOMME, that's French, and it translates to English to mean like a man or as a man. And something that's important to us for this brand is not only talking about hair loss, but also talking about the overarching concept of manhood. Because a lot of the times when guys are dealing with hair loss, they're dealing with it when they're getting that age, when they're kind of going from boy to man. So we really want to have the conversation and use this platform to not only discuss hair loss, but also to talk about what does it really mean to be a man? Because as I mentioned to you earlier, I feel like that idea has changed over time. Like for me growing up, I feel like the media would push to our faces, being a man means being dominant, not showing emotions, having multiple women, all these relatively negative stereotypes that were forced upon us growing up. But now I think a lot of us have the opportunity to really rethink what it really means to be a man. So Tom, I want to ask you, man. You said you're 51 years old?
51, yeah.
51.
52.
So
I'll be 52 in September.
52 next September. So
Yep.
you lived a decent amount of life. So you're pretty wise, Tom. You're pretty wise. So I want to hear from you, based on your life experience, man. What does it mean to be a man in your opinion, Tom?
Kind of a loaded question, bro, but I'll give you the abridged. I'll give you the abridged version. Being a
Go
man
for it.
means taking care of your family, taking care of your lady, um, be a be an earner, earn your way in the world, and um, don't try not to take any. I mean, if you have to take a handout, take a handout, but pay it back, and you know, be a God fearing man. Just be a stand up person. Do the right thing. Um, present yourself well. Um, look somebody in the eye when you talk to them. Shake a person's hand with a firm grip. That type of thing. And like I say, there's so much more that goes into it, but that that there's the abridged version of it.
Yeah.
So
So when I heard that answer, I heard some key themes that I've heard via other conversations as well, man. One, being a protector, like you said, take care of your family, take care of your woman and your significant other. I also heard responsibility, stand 10 toes. You have to be responsible, take care of your business. And then I heard accountability. As a man, you're
yep,
accountable to so many different
yep.
people, whether it's family, whether it's coworkers, whether it's business partners, wherever it may be, also be accountable. And then I heard God fearing as well. So these are all things that I've heard numerous times in so many comments. So I think, Tom, I think this is the episode probably number 43 that we've shot. So we talked
Oh
to
wow.
almost 40 men, 40 plus
Okay.
men about the hair loss journey, about manhood. And every conversation is unique and every conversation brings something new out. So that's why it's always exciting when we have the opportunity to connect with men. But I'm so glad that you dropped those gems for us today, man. This has been another great episode. But before we sign off, Tom, I want to give you an opportunity to share any last message you may have with anybody that may be watching this. It could be about hair loss, it could be about manhood, it could be about anything else. But we'd love to give you the stage to share any final message you would like to share.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity of being on here today. This has just been a happy accident. I'm so glad we found each other.
Yep.
Um, and I hope by all means give me a friend request. And but as far as the final message, as far as, what we're talking about here today, which is male baldness, again, don't be afraid to embrace it, because it's part of who you are. And if you feel like you want to go the rest of the way, come home. Like we say, that's our common thread, is come home. There's no shame in your game. In fact, that you might find, if you go the rest of the way home, you might find that your life and your image and your swagger, or whatever you want to call it, will increase twofold. And I know, just through my experience, I my life has just gotten better and better. I mean, I've had some pitfalls, but having my, but hopefully my personality and my brand, my personal brand, so to speak, makes up for it. And my my bald head is a big part of that, and I'm proud of it.
We love it. We love it.
So
We love it. We love it. Tom, if somebody's watching this and they want to contact you, is Facebook the best way for them to contact you?
yeah, Facebook, Twitter. I've got some videos up on YouTube. I call myself Corvette Timmy, just because I watch South Park and I'm a big fan of Corvettes. So that was the only name I could come up for with my my call my handle on Twitter, or on YouTube. But I'm on Twitter every once in a while, Instagram, uh, all your major social media platforms. So
Corvette Timmy
stop
on
by.
Instagram as well?
Instagram, I think it's just Tom Turner.
All right. Tom Turner,
And
Instagram, Tom
yeah,
Turner Facebook, and Corvette Timmy on Twitter.
on YouTube.
YouTube, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yep. So
We'll find you on all
yep,
those
yep.
networks, and we'll make sure to give you a follow, my brother.
Yeah, please, absolutely.
No doubt, no doubt.
Love to hear from all of you, my bald brothers.
We got you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. As always, it's been another great episode of the Bald to Bold series. And as I always say on every episode, y'all stay bald, y'all stay bold, and we'll see y'all soon.
Word. Peace.